Welcome to Daxue Talks, a show powered by Daxue Consulting, a China-based strategic market research company founded in 2010.
I'm Shen. I'm the creative director at Mobile Now, and at Mobile Now, we cover custom design and build of applications, digital products, and digital experiences. And lately, I think the past few years, it's been a lot of WeChat. And so a little bit about me personally, I lead a team of UX and UI designers here, and we work very closely with our technologies team to create these digital products and experiences for brands and businesses. I've been in the software industry for 10 years, and I started in the video games industry with Electronic Arts and Nintendo, and I've been in Shanghai for 5 years. I think this is important because everything we do on WeChat is very embedded in sort of day-to-day life here. And the company, the teams and I, we've been working on WeChat mini programs for 3 years, and which is pretty much when mini programs first came out, and then 5 years approximately working on WeChat. I think 2015 was when kind of WeChat really started to take off. Lastly, just to, I think, give a bit of context, we've worked with some very well-known brands, the likes of Leica, Lane Crawford, Brunello Cucinelli, Hennessy, to name a few. And some of these actually are going to show up as case studies later on.
What are some key differences between WeChat mini programs and apps?
So this one, mini programs versus apps, one is you don't have to download, right, for one. So they're extremely fast, they run really fast, and they're really smooth. Mini program sizes, I think with Tencent, they can't exceed something like 10 megabytes. And there's a lot of caching on the mini program in the WeChat app itself. And it's cross-regional, so we are actually able to provide mini programs for users abroad as well. And development cost is another one. Native apps, we typically have to deal with, building an iOS and an Android version and managing sort of the differences between the two platforms. With mini programs, it's kind of got that the benefits, much like web, is you have one single sort of development and maintain effort. And lastly, it is really simple. It's designed to be simple, streamlined, effective, and it's just overall ends up being really, really convenient and beneficial for users.
What are the limitations to WeChat mini programs compared to apps and websites?
So there's a few parts. I think there's, part on design, and then, designing a WeChat mini program versus all the other different application sort of formats. And then there's a technology side. I'll start with the technology side first. So technologies with WeChat mini programs is, the framework is very much led by Tencent. And Tencent does have to really decide, what features to offer for mini programs that, the wider developers are able to build on or to use, and that can differ a little bit from what, say, Facebook decides to offer. But there's a lot of overlaps in terms of, you talk about authentication. And being able to identify users, WeChat login, that as a feature, or sharing, or a few others. But an example of limitations with WeChat mini programs right now are typically with emerging technologies. So if you look at AR or VR, that currently hasn't been sort of pushed a lot by Tencent. I mean, it's possible that they're working on this behind the scenes and that it might come out eventually. But Tencent has to make a decision in terms of what to focus on. Now, so that's the technology side, and comparing this to other applications, native apps obviously are going to be the one that have sort of the widest set of options. It's very sort of rudimentary. It's kind of the true sandbox of whatever you want to build. And there's going to be different limitations on a few others, with Facebook, with Tmall. I think Tmall is one where it's very much a controlled environment. The store's pretty much been mostly set up. There's a lot of sort of guidelines and do's and don'ts, and everybody gets sort of funneled through the same path. WeChat is a little bit, different from that, in that it still opens everything up. They give you very basic tool sets, and then you can build it, essentially any type of service you want on top of that. So that's the technology side, and then for the design side, I would say it's widely the same, and the reason is because from us working on design, user experience, user interfaces, regardless of which platform or which format it is in, we're still dealing with sort of the same communications with users. So we're always dealing with the best way to present, deliver information to help teach users how they should interact with the tools or the solution, and providing adequate feedback and all that. So there's probably only I'd say a 5% difference in terms of designing for a mini program versus designing for a native app.
Follow our SlideShare for informative, free, hands-on reports on a variety of sectors. We publish 3 to 4 fresh China business reports a month. Find the link in the description.
When it comes to creating a mini program, what is the time commitment and what skills are necessary compared to the development of a native app?
I think I'll speak on this on the behalf of sort of brands and business owners. So typically, brands and business owners will want to work with a service provider that specializes in digital applications and products. And ideally, design side, I think knowing the technologies, because you need designers that understand the technological limitations and constraints of WeChat mini programs. We also need technologies teams that have worked with that technology before. But other than that, there's another aspect, which is sort of what skill set do brands and businesses need on their side to get these end to end, and the skill set and time commitment can vary for small to medium to large businesses. And these I would summarize as there's potentially 3 types of solutions here for brands that are looking to create a mini program. You have off-the-shelf solutions, and on the very left, in the middle, you have made to measure. And then on the very right, you have sort of full custom. And typically it's therefore, small, medium, large businesses, or also the progression of any sort of business line. Now, for off-the-shelf solutions, you probably will be okay with a digital marketing specialist, somebody who knows that aspect and has worked with something or a similar tool in the past. For made to measure, you will want digital marketing expertise. You also optionally and recommended is to have IT expertise, because most likely you will start dealing with some light integrations to other systems that your business is running. Lastly, for anything that's full custom, you will want digital marketing and IT to be able to sort of handle all the different moving parts. And then, the application design and the implementation skill sets, those will all be provided by, your service provider. And the time commitment is anywhere between, I would say, 2 to 8 months, depending on the scale and which option you're looking at, right? Off the shelf could be 2 months, where you just have to sort of set up, configure, get all of your content in place. 8 months is, for example, if you're running on a larger scale and you have multiple systems that you have to integrate with, one for, product information that's external overseas, another for, order management that then integrates with like a delivery, a courier service like Shen, or several others, or, live chat, all of that. So that can potentially take up to 8 months or longer, depending on the scale of the business.
Any questions? We will find an expert to answer them. Drop your questions in the comments or send us an email, dx@dashwayconsulting.com.